All right, welcome back for part 3 of my brain collapsed into my spine and medical negligence that almost killed me. If you're still with me from part 2, as a quick recap, so when I last left you, I was being told by the largest hospital in Grand Rapids, Michigan, that they were sending me home because they needed my bed, even though they knew that I had just suffered multiple grand mal seizures and could see that I had no cerebral spinal fluid flow from my head to my body. It was completely blocked off by my brain herniation from my brain collapsing into my spine. So I have a hard time describing that feeling as I laid in the bed, feeling completely defeated and I was getting to a point where I told myself I just needed to come to terms with the fact that this was it. This was my life now. I was going to have a headache that was an 8 out of 10 on a scale. Unless you have Chiari, it's hard to understand that is a very true number. When I worked in the emergency room, we would tell kids, that's like your body is like in so much pain that you could scream, that it feels like your body is on fire, I meant that. Feels like someone is squishing your head out through your eyeballs from the inside out. Someone is jamming an ice pick into your brain over and over again, and it just never lets up. And I've been feeling this way since this started on, December 9th, right? So I'm laying in this bed feeling all of this overwhelming dread. Sorry about the rhyme, Seuss time. My mom is sitting in the chair next to me on the phone with my aunts, having these conversations with all of them about what she should do and how concerned she is and how she is feeling like she is at such a loss, listening to her cry, not understanding how they're sending us home and what do we do? They're discharging us. There's nothing we can do. They need my bed. So they say, bring her to another hospital. She needs to go to a bigger hospital, a hospital that's better, one that we know will help her. And so my mom and I make this plan that they're going to discharge us. We're going to go home. I'm going to sleep for the night. My mom is going to try to sleep for the night, even though it's like having a newborn baby that she's watching over, concerned that I'm not going to make it through the night. We get up in the morning, I take a shower, and my mom drives me. Pause. People have been asking me if I sued. No. People have been asking me what the hospital is that I went to in Grand Rapids. I think I've given enough hints. I'm not going to call them out by name, though, because I feel that in some instances that doctors truly are just human and that they make errors, and that's just life. And the things that I went through were difficult, and I don't necessarily fault them. I feel like at this point I have forgiven them. This next part of my story, though, I am going to call the hospital out by name. I wish with all of my being that I had enough gusto to call this doctor out by name that I saw because of the way that I was treated. So this part, we're going to get dirty, okay? Not normally that person, but in this instance, it feels warranted. So we wake up the next morning, I take a shower, I'm fresh, we're going. I have all the faith in the world that this is going to work because I don't have any other option. So I have to have faith that this is going to be okay. So my mom drives me from our small town to Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we arrive at U of M, the place that has the answers. They're going to save my life. They take me back to a room. My mom explains the situation. They put me in a wheelchair. They take me back. They get me in a bed. They give me some medicine because it's going to make my headache just kick the door. We're going away. No, we're not. No, we're not. We explain everything that's been going on. We tell them, we know that she has the Chiari. We know that there is no fluid flow from her spine to her brain. We're not connecting anymore. She has just recently had seizures and was released from the hospital. They know that it's not caused from epilepsy. They did the testing. Everything looked good. So we need answers and we need help. And they have a Chiari clinic. U of M has a Chiari clinic. Let me repeat that. So they should be able to help me. They end up sending a doctor from this Chiari clinic down to my room to see me. And he looks me dead in my eyes after I tell him that I used to work in a mental hospital. I did crisis intervention in one-on-one in a mental hospital in my area. I worked with a lot of young people that had conversion disorder. And this man looked me in my eyes and said, I believe that you have conversion disorder. And if you talk about your symptoms, they'll go away. And then they sent me home. At this point in my story, one of my best friends, Stacy, comes to save the day. She is the young lady I mentioned earlier in one of my other parts of this story that she graduated high school with me, also has Chiari, and she had brain surgery from Dr. Holly Gilmer, out of Ascension in Detroit. I message her and I just say, this is what's going on. I am defeated. I don't know what to do, but I feel like this is my death sentence. And she says, reach out to her, call her. She will help you. She will save you. So I do. On our way home from U of M, I call Dr. Gilmer's office and I explain the situation, and they inform me that regretfully, she is booked so far out. Everybody wants to see her. She is one of the best and is difficult to get into. So they say, send me the discs, send me the imaging of the MRI. She'll look them over, pick up the actual records, mail them to her. She will look them over. She will call you. We will get you scheduled and we'll see what we can do. I'm like, great. Thanks. So I go with my mom the next day. We pick up all these records. I mail them real quick over to Dr. Gilmer, and literally upon receiving them, looking them over, and then calling me, they tell me was less than an hour occurrence from those things happening. And Dr. Gilmer needs to see me in 2 days. It's the very first available they can squeeze me in, and she needs to see me. So my mom makes the 3-hour drive to take me. She is a saint, Linda. We love you. Collectively, we love you. She drives me the 3 hours to Detroit for me to see Dr. Gilmer, wheels me into her office in a wheelchair because at this point, I can't walk without some help. Wheels me into her office, and I lay there with my head covered and just feeling like I'm done. I feel like I am so ready to give up because I am in so much pain and I can't walk anymore and my world is upside down. She finally calls me back. We go over my history. We talk for a few minutes, and Dr. Gilmer looks me in my eyes and says, I don't know how you're still here, and I'm not sure how you're still breathing because your scans tell me that your brainstem has been completely flattened and you should be dead. When they did those lumbar punctures and they pulled that fluid out of my spinal column, my cerebral tonsils that dangle from my little noggin, my brain, gives me all my big knowledge, it wrapped them around my brainstem, right? Completely flattening it. Those seizures that I had were because my body was trying to die. From the brainstem compression, my body was actively dying. And if he had not been speaking to me, my ex-boyfriend, that I most likely would have died. And she's not sure how I'm still functioning. And we need to do surgery the soonest open appointment she has. Because otherwise I will not have life left. And she's not sure how we've made it this far. She has also diagnosed me with, as a lot of you have guessed, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and POTS related to the brainstem compression. The dura of my brain just wasn't strong enough, and when I rolled over in bed, it tore open. My brain collapsed into my spine, and if they had not done the lumbar punctures, my story would have been a lot different. But because they did, they have now flattened my brainstem. And it's touch and go. Hang in for part 3. 4? We're on 4, y'all. See you soon.